not only making your way into this space, but some of you immediately taking to doing certain things, and others taking a moment to realize everything that you've done in this past day and the little things that you've done. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. What what are you absorbing? What are you breaking down? What are you doing? And is anybody checking on Biren, who has led you back here in a hurry because they were even a place of relaxation was not a good moment for them. Didn't seem safe enough.
Yeah, the Shawnee's gonna basically go over and sit with him and give him a minute to calm down and then just, you want to talk about it?
No.
You want to just sit here for a bit?
Yeah.
When you're ready to talk, we're here and
Mm.
try to help if we can.
What time of day is it?
Mhm. No more than uh, an hour has really passed since you left Revolver's place. Uh, from your perspective, if you were judging from the time of day back home, you'd say it's maybe 2 in the afternoon. Hard to tell with the sky outside. Never really seems to change, but always seems to change. There are different ways of keeping track here.
As Deshani sits with beer and Draxon is going to find a spot on his bed and just silently go into meditation.
Are you looking for anything particular, or are you doing the same focus you were doing uh, this morning before heading out?
No, I'm not doing the same focus thing. Not he is basically going through everything that he learned from Revolver about the location he was supposed to go to grab whatever his grandfather was leaving. But no, he's just processing the information he has. Um, it's not really like a closed eyes meditation type thing. It's more of a sit there and ponder while
Sure.
also looking at the book that Revolver had lent him.
Well, that's 3 of you. The one that had stayed behind. Your friends have come back relatively quick. Only feels like a few hours to you. What have you been doing in the past few hours since waking?
Horby has been meditating in the corner, thinking about the memories that he's been attempting to recover some more. Silently praying to Melion to for her guidance in recovering them.
I would like you to please roll me a D100. And then a perception check. I'm going to mute myself for a second.
That would be a 25 and an 18.
You feel like there is headway to be made in the way that you are approaching your memories, but there is headway to be made in other ways as well. And with your perception, when your friends came back and you took notice that they all seemed different shades of concerned. The youngest looking one being very shaken up, and each of them carrying a little bit more weight in their stride and face as they re-entered the room. Only makes sense that you would pick this up. Do with that what you will.
Horby's gonna walk over to Deshani and ask, why does everyone seem so concerned and weighed down all of a sudden?
He's gonna kind of glance at Adraxon and then look back and we got some information that a place that Adraxon's grandfather thought was safe might not be that safe, and we're not sure whether or not he will be heading there. And if he does, we may need to go there to make sure he's safe. And the information were given was a little bit disconcerting.
Well, I'm sure whatever that path holds in front of us, we can handle it and come out just fine.
No. No.
I have faith.
No.
And Shawnee's kind of gonna just place a hand on Baron's shoulder, and it might take time to feel comfortable going for some.
Some of us aren't exactly comfortable as it is as well. So I can understand some of us not being comfortable with going somewhere new, with disturbance possible.
Mm-hmm.
And time passes. How much isn't really a matter for any of you. Could have been tens of minutes, could have been hours. Each of you doing your own thing as you almost stew in the early days happenings. I'm going to give you a choice. Would you like to rest and take a long rest and move on to your next day? Or would you like to do something else with this day?
Um, I'm pretty sure the move on to the next day wouldn't be so bad. Um, one thing I did want to ask: is there anything that anything that Adraxon finds or that stands out to him in the book that was given to him?
A little bit for my sake, and a little bit for those at home who haven't didn't get to see that part. Can you inform about that book?
So the book that was given to him doesn't really, or the way it was described to him wouldn't really describe the location more than it would describe the politics and political situations going on in said location. Uh, it's just something to give a little bit of awareness to the current situation that is going on over there. That Revolver had heard of last he got news from there.
There had been several different nations on the surface that had been set in the roilings before war as of recently. And many of the most of the races that had taken to those, the the ones that had decided that war was not for them, the way that this entire situation was heading was not for them. So they decided to go into the Underdark, go to the different clans of the dwarves in their area that would be able to not only give them a place, but also give them a purpose when they felt that everything back home was being changed, being taken from them, being put to purposes of war instead of peace or people. So they were moving underground away from the sun, away from nature, to try and get a hold while finding a way to be of service to their new home so they wouldn't be kicked out like they felt like was building to be the problem up on the surface. And didn't seem to be pressure about the different races here. It had a lot more to do with resource movement and claims to certain things that were some called holy, some called linchpins of providence, some called prophet. one of these nations far to the outcast regions past where any of the dwarven settlements in the mountains and underneath really stretched to, was vastly well known for, in recent years, being completely taken by the companies that had come up in their country. It was no longer a monarchy. There were no nobles left. The houses had fallen way to banks. They were the ones that were pressing the borders at the others. They were the ones that were sending out potent parties, small parties of adventurers, maybe just treasure seekers, into the other countries to take things that weren't theirs. Not forgotten things, known things. You've heard stories like this from your family's libraries before, of different places that the Feywild touched, that people wandered into the Feywild just to stay away from being flooded with the greed of the people that are trying to overtake their own country, their own kingdom. You've heard these stories before, 1,000 times over. This is nothing that you think your grandfather couldn't have dealt with. You go through page after page of all of this, and the latest entry didn't speak of politics. It was almost poetic. It spoke of stars falling, wishes made, and an ominous feeling that hung in the air. Bottom half of that page is missing. There are plenty of pages left to be written in. The bottom of that page is missing. Took you most of the night, but you read through it. You wouldn't be able to memorize every name, but given the right moment, you think you might be able to recognize somebody of importance, recognize a nation's name.
Okay.
It'll mechanically, it'll give you advantage on history checks for remembering anything should you go there.
Okay.
But yes, these are the things that you get from this book.
Right.
Political.
After reading it, he closes it up and slips it away, and will spend the uh, remainder of the evening before needing to take his 4 hours, uh, just focusing on what he read and what uh, what situations his imagination could come up with that his grandfather might come across if he does go.
I will put one other thing in there. Other than the political backgrounds, the truly lush areas of the surface, it's not just thick growth. It is stated that most of the wildlife, both flora and fauna, have grown to enormous size in this particular world. This doesn't seem to have affected the sapient races, but it isn't quite overrun. More, everything has grown to megafauna and mega flora. Just, little extra notes that do come to mind as you're focusing on it. Things that you thought to kind of put to the side because why wouldn't it be a political problem? Most of this is politics. Why wouldn't it be a struggle or something of that matter? So you start trickling into the other bits that might seem like a red herring or might just be that bit that he was kind of hinting to. The night goes on. You each take your rests, and you wake to the same placid and nice colors around you. That light twinkling sound in the air, the light trickle of water continuing to almost ask you if you wanted to take a bath. Those of you who wake early because of shorter resting cycles, what would you like to do with the remaining few hours while your companions are still resting?
Bjorn is definitely taking a bath and going to use another um,
Use of his vial?
yep.
Um, for me, one thing before, I don't know, either before she goes to bed or when she wakes up, I want to have Dashani work on 2 paintings
Okay.
of the moonflower fields.
Okay. Is she going for the serenity, the viciousness, or the panic of the place?
I think one will just be simply the serenity, and I think the second is going to be kind of a um like an ombre effect of, the serenity flowing into the chaos, into the viciousness, everything just kind of melding. So, like, depending on what part of the painting you're looking at, you're going to get a different feeling.
Okay. Please give me 2 separate performance. Either performance or if you have the let me see. Do you have the tool? Go ahead and give me a pair of performance checks.
You want two, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
One for each painting.
Mm. Wow. Ah, ah, just hold on. I'm gonna put this in out of character because I just no words.
Yep.
Oh.
So you're not sure what it is. Waking up, usually waking up in this room, you feel refreshed, but you still feel a little weight of yesterday on you as you try to paint in the morning. And that weight presses your
Like you
brush
said
too
before
hard.
bed.
It it presses your brush too hard, and both times you puncture the painting before you really get more than your coarse line work done, before you start getting into the lighter things. And the frustration builds, and you end up with more punctures. And before the end, it's not that they aren't pieces of art. It's that they are not the pieces of art that you wanted. It's that these are no longer a two-dimensional object that is painted with three-dimensional objects. It is now a three-dimensional piece of art that is telling a very different story than you wanted either of these paintings to tell. It's telling of pain, of sorrow, of near loss, of desperation, not of beauty, not of hope, and not of the flurry that you fought against. You are wondering where these feelings come from that punctured your paintings, that pressed you harder than your soft hand normally does. And you do have two paintings with many punctures.
Okay.
In fact, I'm not sure how long it has been since you have put truly solid pain behind your paintings before. It may have been a very long time. Was it coming through on purpose? Something that needed to be put to canvas? Or was something speaking through you? Or was it just chance? You have the morning to figure that out. And we lost Jeb before we could get input from him. So we're going to go on to Fenris because we know that he is another early waker.
I didn't know if Surrey was done with Biren. He was talking about using his vial, so I figured there was more to it than that.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry, sir.
No, you
Which
said you. I thought you said you were doing that the night before, like before you went to bed.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the case because she's got to do the full 8.
okay. Then you end up doing that before bed, and you have a night of a little bit of restlessness, trying to figure out where those feelings came from, why they literally pushed through the canvas. I'm not going to put any dreams in anyone's heads. We're going to go forward into the next day. Biren was taking his bath and using his vial.
Yes.
So, what were you using your vial on?
Uh, New day. I get to roll to see if any recharged. Right.
Mm-hmm.
93. Dang, where were these rolls last week? Did I gain any charges back?
I need to go back down to the bottom to double check for you. Yes, you regain 2 charges.
Okay. So with that many, I will use a charge on the pants, a charge on the shirt, and a charge on the belt. And I will have 1 charge left.
The pants mend back together, and they are of a quality that is close to modern denim, of cloth and leather bound together. And the leather glistens, and the cloth that is bound is so soft to the touch that when you put them back on, the texture reminds you that of towels from different baths that you have taken over your life. Actual soft texture to your skin. The belt no longer feels that it is strands of leather and rope. Over the course of the minute that it remends, you watch as it takes on a dark, not black, but a rich brown color. It flattens out. It turns a full ring instead of a knot of metal at the one end, re-straightens. The belt can fit through again. You feel grip at the ring and the butt uh of the belt, like it's not worn so raw that it has just simply gotten to the point where it's going to let go within a couple of days worth of work. You don't have to tie it into a knot. You can simply just let the belt be a belt. However, you do notice one other thing to it. The other end of the belt. There is a piece of metal that is edging the point of the belt end, and as you take interest in it, you pull it and you find a very thin, very small hidden compartment. Not very large, small enough to fold a note, hide an instruction. Slips back in pretty easily. As for the shirt, you don't remember this shirt having pockets. You also remember this shirt always being brown. It's white. It's also a long sleeve shirt, not the short sleeve thing that you remember. Now you realize why it was handed down to you. It was so beaten up, the original owner didn't remember what it was supposed to be. You have a pair of pockets that are down by your kidneys on the front. It isn't just a gash here. There are loops and a small tie to tighten it. The sleeves come down to your wrist, and it's not muddy brown. With 3 uses, you have restored almost all of your clothes to a pristine condition, and they are very comfortable by comparison to what they were 20 minutes ago. By no means are they a silk, but fresh cotton, fresh wool, fresh leather always feels much better than stuff that has been worn for 10 years, or 20, or 30.
Beering feels like a new man.
And a few, unless Draxon was going to do something, next
Yeah,
couple of hours end up passing pretty peacefully.
yeah. While Biren is preoccupied with his bath and restoring his clothing, Draxon is going to use his daily use of his vial and try to reach out again.
How do you greet him? Because I'm assuming you're reaching out to your grandfather.
Yeah. Um, 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 so similar to how they've ended their conversations, he projects that same kind of warmth and grandfather, are you there?
You don't so much hear grunts so much as you feel a bit of tension and struggle. Yeah, son, I'm a little busy, but what can I do for you?
I am. How does his voice sound?
Since, from what you can tell, this is coming through as a mental state from him, not a spoken one.
Mm.
It doesn't sound strained. It doesn't sound uh, expediated or there's no strain to it. It's just his age and a peak of just energy to his voice. It's a little difficult to tell whether it's excitement or something else.
I spoke to Revolver yesterday about the location you had told me, and he seemed a bit uh, worried about it. Said some things have been going on recently. Are you there?
Yeah, son, I'm still heading to that spot. It's a bit trickier than I thought.
Are you okay?
Been a few years since I've worn a mask to do things, but I'm fine. Nothing's nothing's attached that's been a problem yet. You just have to burn off a scroll before leaving this place.
Is the situation over there something I should avoid for the time being?
It is more dangerous than I thought. It's not something that was brewing here. It's something that came. Um, it's difficult and it's spreading. And once I drop this where I told you it would be, I'm going to seek those of power to see how it can be helped. It would be a wonder to see you here as well, but I understand if you still need time. If you do come, cover your mouth and get the right divine scrolls.
The right ones. Poison and the like?
Potent diseases, curses, things things that shouldn't be combined in the natural order have been. And it would take significant power of those who have faith to be able to free but one person. I fear this is bigger than any one person.
Very well.
It it is bad enough that even though I'm bullheaded and will not stop with this idea, this will bring me out of retirement at least until I either see it through or I'm put to the wrong side of it.
Well,
You be
then I
safe.
had best. You as well.
There's another wave coming. I need to focus.
Very well. And he'll send forth the same warm energy and cut the connection.
Less a warm embrace of a feeling and more that you remember back when you were only still in your single digits, barely had your feet under you and already being set to training, and once in a while, as a point of approval, your grandfather would give you a hard smack on the back. As you're coming out of the connection, you feel that push.
All right.
With that, the next couple of hours are pushing forward, and the rest of you come to consciousness and are greeted with the light colors, the chiming, the water, and probably the grumble of Baron's stomach.
One thing I wanted to do after that conversation, since there was a couple hours,
Mhm.
um, he is going to, with a renewed purpose, go full into focusing as he had the morning previous. Um, and this time it's scent based.
Please roll me that 100 D100 again.
That is a 100.
Very nice. You feel the progression coming on quicker than before. Maybe it is the burning in your chest of your conversation with your grandfather. Maybe it's the urgency that was put in you by Revolver. Or maybe it's just curiosity on your part. Something draws you fervently harder than yesterday. You still feel it just out of reach, but you're growing ever closer. With that, we will move on to everybody else waking up. You wake up to one of your elven friends in a state of very fine focus, and you find your other taking a little bit more pride in his appearance. Maybe those are new clothes? Everything certainly seems to have more of a, wow, I lost the word. Deeper.
Strutting in his finery.
Yeah, his
Um,
entire outfit is much richer now. It's not dingy, it's not faded. It has sleeves.
Swagger. That's right. We'll use the archetype.
Is that a new outfit?
No, It's the
Leave
The
same.
this,
magic?
leave this to you for.
The potion that I got.
Seems to be coming in handy.
I've never had anything this nice before.
Oh, you've been working hard. You've earned it. Shawnee will go to Jackson and were you able to contact your grandfather? You lose him?
You hear me now?
Yep.
I was able to get a hold of him. There's a couple things that I need to grab, but looks like I'll be making that trip after all.
If you go, I'll go.
Horby also has been taking a bit of time to make sure that each one of you knows his name now that he has realized it and realized that he has had the name to himself for a day and wants the people that helped him already to have something to actually call him.
Good to meet you, Horby.
One step closer to knowing your past, which will help with your future.
And he returns his attention to the Shawnee. This is not going to be an easy task, and I am not going to ask any of you to come with me.
Oh,
You-
you didn't ask. I offered.
I'm just letting it be known. You all have tasks and dreams and wishes that you wish to see fulfilled, and I am not. My task before me is not worth you risking yours.
My task was simply to help others.
Your task is to become a bridge. Can't really become a bridge if you're dead somewhere.
That is my goal, but my task is to help others. And right now, it seems that you're the one that needs that help.
I'll go too.
Johnny's just gonna kind of give him an encouraging look and nod.
Over the table, I rolled 100 on that roll. I'm down
It's
to
the
go too.
it's the new clothes, man. It's the revitalized clothes.
That swagger got him.
All it took was a brand new shirt
And pants.
and pants.
Belt.
And boots and swords.
He'll
No,
look
that he
to
had already.
The swords he had done this revitalization on first. Last time he did it on the boots. Today he did it on 3 pieces of clothing. He is completely decked out at this point. some
His
of it
fancy hat.
also seems to have had, like, with the revitalization of them, has had a tinge of magic returned to them, as if they had been dulled for so long that they had needed to be repaired before they could shine again.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, sometimes the person needs that shine before they can feel better.
Huh? That's two of us willing to help you.
Uh, looks like Corby is in too.
3. Gonna look over at Balon.
Balon's still.
I I believe he is actually sitting this one out from exhaustion from physical activities of the day.
Oh, then he will not be joining.
He got
For
hurt again.
for the purposes of this, we those that have not had or have do not have the ability to speak up but are with the group are going to have the ability to join or follow. This is a point that I'm going to hammer home before you guys all walk through doorways. This is not a day trip. This is a longer mission.
Oh,
Most of you were warned when I got you to around 5 that I already had a plan for something that would happen.
He looks to
You
the group. Oh, go
you
ahead, Tony. Sorry.
you still have the option to do a few other things before stepping through that door or choosing not to do that. I'm just I wanted to lay it out here for you so that you knew that your choices will have weight behind them.
Maybe we should go do some more mining before we go there, so that we can trade for some more things that we might need.
prepare.
Is that what it's called?
Preparation, yes, it's important.
There are some things that I have to grab. They
And enough for all of us would probably be expensive.
very much so.
To run a few more favors to pay for things that we might need. Are you willing to do that before we head into the situation your grandfather's in?
As long as it doesn't take too long. He seemed to be in the middle of something. I couldn't quite tell what it was, but he did make mention that another wave was coming before we cut the call. But there are things
Your
that
faith in your grandfather's abilities.
he's one of the few who taught me what I know. So I have the utmost faith in his abilities. But as I said, in one of his greatest teachings is you can prepare for anything, but you can never be ready for everything. There are some items that he insisted that I make sure that I grab divine scrolls of the sort that can deal with potent diseases and curses. Seems something has moved into the land that wasn't there when he was there last. So Revolver was right, things are not that great over there.
All the more
Said,
reason that we're prepared for those things.
"Oh,
Or we may not be any help at all.
well, we've still got that full sack of flowers that we acquired. I say if we get some more mithril seem to be in high demand, but then again every material seems to be worth something around here.
We don't have the flowers anymore over the table.
That's right, we gave them off for them. Well, we have the favor, and we were told that we can return the favor for
Yeah, but that was for Horby's item,
Mm-hmm.
which we would want to do anyway before we bring him in.
Mhm.
Say what now? Orbeez what?
So we all kind of
Item.
traded mithril for items that we need, so magical items and weapons and such. Horby helped collect the flowers. So the extra flowers that we got, Cap's stuff was paid with the first bag. The second bag we got credit on, so that if you were to go, you could get either a specialized armor, weapon, shield, whatever it would be that you would need.
We got you the hookup.
Apparently, I missed that part.
It was last week.
That was last week.
Yep.
So basically, we have tokens that are credits that we figured you could get whatever item you needed for that token.
Oh, now I have to think some more. Dang it.
Or just give an idea and Tormy will go crazy with it.
That is a fair point. It is Tormy.
He does
Um,
very well with going crazy on things.
well,
Actually, I have an
then,
idea that I need to think about.
then we should prepare. Do we want to um
Well, let me ask, what types of protections do you think would be useful for what we're going to be facing?
Oh, you sure you want to have that conversation with me in the room?
Nope.
I don't know much of what will be over there. I was just told to make sure that we bring divine scrolls because it's too much for one of faith to handle on their own. It requires someone very powerful of faith to take care of just one person. So I'm thinking
We can ask Tulliver if he knows who could help us out.
that I think would be a grand idea. And then see if we can get possibly another gather mining mission, something that we can acquire materials that we can use.
We don't need
Because
a mission. We know how to get to the mine, right?
well, that right, that's I don't. Some people will take raw materials. If we need something different, we can always go see if there's a mission that somebody needs done that wouldn't take that long to acquire the items
Not just
for.
that, but
We get
depending on
extra.
what items we need to acquire, the cost might be different than mithril.
At that point, just putting it out there, if we had mithril, we could trade it to somebody for something that they have that somebody else could need. This whole system works on a barter, so what they've got to trade between each other as it is, or go out and fetch the materials themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a bit of an upgrade on my armor when we last went to see Smith and Wesson, but I could use a little something that doesn't just react when I'm hit. It makes me a little bit harder to hit. But what if we were to see if Revolver has a place that we could do two things at once?
You can ask.
Gather materials that could be used for, an enchanter or a spellweaver, and as well as materials that we could mine for or gather that could be used in smithing armor and things of the like. Maybe with a bit of danger so that we can hone our blades a bit. Not anything too drastic. Not really looking to fight glowing algae again.
No, no.
That's a bit of a challenge, wasn't it?
It
It
was
was.
fun. No, not at all.
Well, let's gather our things and get a move on. We'll grab some food on the way out, and then
Tacos?
tacos sound fine.
Damn it with the tacos.
And then we'll head to Revolver and see if there's any place that he has in mind that can help us.
Revolver or Tolver?
Both right down the road from each other.
I mean,
Well,
we technically need to.
Mm.
Well, we'll have to go to Tolver, and if we're going out, we need to go to Revolver. Either way, we're gonna have to see both of them.
I would like to point out the gateway means that you're always down the road from somewhere.
Exactly.
I can get us there. It'll be okay.
So let's go grab food.
You looking for a new place or a place that you know?
No,
Tacos.
taco place. The
Right
good
to the
taco.
taco place. Then I don't need to have you roll perception because you've definitely got a taste and a smell for this place.
yes, he
It's
does.
about 15 minutes before you get there, and that tiefling is once again cleaning a different table. There are different patrons here. It's still just one table that has been filled, and one or two stools up by the bar. Um, the halfling running up and down behind the bar, making sure that things are taken care of. And you're just gestured to one of the open tables by the tiefling who gives you all a wink. Once you're sat, it's a similar experience to the last time, but a little more personal now that he's gotten to know you. He asks what you want, or if you want the same things this time, or if you want something new. But he asks it by name. And how would you want to be paying for this?
Just over the table. This is the same tiefling that I gave the map to the last time, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Pulls out a string of sausages.
He singly counts down the string, then counts those with you. bites at a pointed long nail. I'll leave you far from the string. He cuts them with a different long nail, grabs the remainder of that string, and takes them to the back. And within 10 minutes, each of you have your selected meals and your selected drinks. And something small, round, and wrapped in gold foil at the base of each of your drinks.
Unwrap it. What is it?
That is the richest looking chocolate you have ever seen.
They've got Lindor in the gateway.
What is this?
I believe it's candy.
Shawnee's eyes like light up. It's chocolate.
What is chocolate?
Mother was quite fond of chocolate from various places. Father used to bring it back to her all the time.
What is chocolate?
Put it in your mouth and you'll find out.
I never much liked the taste of it myself.
Beeren looks at this suspiciously.
It is about an inch big from side to side in diameter. It is perfectly round. There is no divot, no texture to it. It is just perfectly round. It feels solid to the touch. And if you wave it around a little bit, you feel a little swish inside.
Shawnee's just gonna quietly savor it.
Once you put it in your mouth, are you biting down or are you just sucking on the chocolate?
Small bite.
You get a rush of very rich fudge from the outer layer, followed by a Concord liquor, a molten fudge.
Beeren puts it in his mouth and just bites down.
The explosion of liquor and chocolate in your mouth literally coats the inside of your mouth unless you are actively trying to swallow it.
Beeren's eyes just like get huge.
Guessing this is your first time experiencing something of the like.
I would imagine so with that reaction.
I will put out there that once it's bitten into, if it is just a small bite, it takes like 3 rounds to stop flooding your mouth with alcohol or the Concord liqueur and the molten fudge, and then it is just a regular chocolate. For the one that bit down, all of that happened in 6 seconds, so your mouth is
Which very much makes sense for a kid having it for the first time.
Yep.
Jackson takes his and puts it back on the wrapper and then finishes his meal before he goes for the chocolate.
Well, if anyone would like mine, they can have it.
Beeren snatches it off the table like it's not even there.
I was just gonna say, if he got through, if anyone wants mine, and it was gone.
Yep.
Do you need that roll? Or does this happen?
No, I don't think unless anybody is contesting this, I don't think anybody else gets there before you.
Not with the 28. Nope.
Jesus.
It disappeared off the table before you could even finish the sentence.
Horby looks down. Well, that was fast. As he stuffs a tamale in his mouth.
And Horby, they're not red tamales. They're green.
Have you never had a tamale before?
I'm talking like the somebody fresh from over the border green tamales.
Oh, I'm talking about the Mexican
Yeah.
food, the tamale.
Yeah.
The- yeah, yeah, not typically spicy.
This is fair.
I mean, I've had them. They're not spicy. I don't do
The-
spicy, as you all know.
That's also fair.
Me neither.
But man, I eat some
Then
tamales.
forget the coloring that I just said.
Yeah.
Could have been worse. I could have said purple.
That would have made me happy. Because you can die on the outside.
But yes, breakfast goes on. You enjoy yourselves for a good 30 minutes, half an hour, full hour. That's up to you. But your bill is paid because you paid up front. You finish your meal, you head back to the streets. What's the next location that you head to?
Let's hit Tolver's first.
Another good 20-minute walk from here. Less so, less a speed impediment because of the directions you had to go. A little bit more that you're walking the streets full. And you pull in there and you're finally getting to that point where you're not feeling over full. And Tulver's sign is set up with the golden filigree and all of that. It's not folded down, and it's Tulver's tincture transaxer.
Oreo.
I swear I can speak.
I don't think you can.
Tulver's tincture transactionarium.
I'll be right back.
I was gonna say, does Beerin actually ever feel overly full?
Probably not.
Probably,
He has those
probably
tolerant.
it's probably that point of like anime characters. I feel full. Dessert?
Okay.
Is
Like I'm so full I can't really move. Somebody else said food. I will die on this table.
there anybody inside the shop?
This time you see not another person up at the counter, and Tulver isn't actually on the bench up there. He is off on the side, kind of every once in a while looking to the front, but most of the time paying attention to something that is probably on one of his cookers.
I'll enter the shop.
You walk in under the uh, overhang, and the street dies down behind you, and you step up to the counter. And he is still just kind of currently he is just staring straight forward, paying attention to something, and you hear a lot of bubbling, a lot of like electric static, and then something that just sounds like metal slowly grinding against metal.
Always
It's not
interesting when I come in here.
Hello, Jackson. How can I help you?
Actually came to see if you knew anyone or had anything that could potentially help. I'm looking for either divine scrolls to deal with serious disease, curses, or something of the like that you might deal with.
That sounds. Stu- One moment, and he rushes behind the um rack that kind of blocks the view, and you hear a couple of almost metal squealing sounds for a moment, and then most of the other sounds die down, and he rushes back out. Both things sound important, and I can stop that for a minute. So, what? Why?
Long story short, I'm going to be take not I. We are going to be taking a trip to a place where those things seem to be an occurrence that we need to watch out for. My my grandfather is over there and I am going to make sure that he is safe.
Okay. Um, are you looking for very potent things that happen once? Are you looking for um semi-potent things that happen several times? Are you looking specifically for scrolls? Are you looking for um mists that just take up an area? Are you looking for things to be imbibed? There's plenty of things out here. Most of them I do in my sense, but scrolls I don't. I would point you, if you're specifically looking for scrolls, or in that matter, directly like information for that type of thing, he points up um under the or from under the overhang and points to a flagpole that you can see in the far distance. If you can get to there and then go, if you can get to there on the other side of the road, you should be able to get to the inverted tower where they can teach that sort of thing or trade off some of the uh, scrolls that their students make for generally cheaper, since I know that you're newer and not everybody that deals with magic is necessarily kinder to those that are new.
I'm not.
Fear tugs at the Shawnee's hand. What's imbibed? What's that mean?
Kind of like the item that's imbibed has absorbed the magical energy.
He looks completely confused.
Some
It's eating or drinking it.
Ah.
Pro tip: don't eat the glass.
well, I'm not exactly sure it has to be scrolls. I just know that he mentioned divine scrolls to deal with severe disease and curses. Um, he said something had moved into the land that was spreading, and we needed some. We needed it precautions because otherwise it would take a cleric of high power and is faith to cure just one person.
If you get me more information about it, I can see what I can make for that. It'll still end up needing like the ingredients, and it still may cost stuff on top, businessman, but still, if it's one of the worlds we're connected with, it's still part of this. And even if Revolver doesn't trust me at this point, I didn't go through all of this to let this slowly fall apart.
Fair enough.
I'd say your best bet is finding information either from your grandfather or from the inverted tower. You have somebody that's there that. Have you used the filter to talk to him today? Or is it uh, older knowledge? Or
Yeah, I used it this morning.
if you get information of what that is before you go and you get me started on it with the stuff that I will need, then I can help.
Yeah.
If not, well, the filter can't reach me for my expertise because I'm here and it doesn't reach here.
Right. No, I think what I'll do then is I'll stop by Revolver's, find the name of this place. He seemed familiar with it. See what I can find out at the inverted tower. Perhaps, and then see if I can't gather more information from my grandfather in the morning.
Perhaps it would be worth coming here and contacting your grandfather from here. So if there's any further questions, it can be asked immediately.
It's not a bad idea. Well, then, Tover, look forward to seeing us soon.
Good luck.
The feeling we're going to need it. All right, let's head to Revolver's right quick.
Aaron, lead the way.
Takes you about 20 minutes of travel because of your familiarity. You get there, and once again, the street dies down as you step through his threshold into the embankment of marble halls, 4 doors behind him, and the dwarf sitting at the wooden desk. This time it looks like he's chiseling something.
Revolver,
Hey,
it's good to see you.
it's good to see you too.
Got a question for you.
The wee one feeling better for the day?
Seems to be.
Good. You looking for a new place through? You looking for a little bit of work? What have you? New passage?
Looking for. We will be looking for a little bit of work, I think. New passage to gather some things to prepare. Where spoke with my grandfather this morning. He
How is the old goat?
well, he's over there. Said
Does he have any news for us then? Since we haven't had any in about a week.
well, there's a bit of news. He's dealing with something over there. Said something has moved in and is spreading quite quickly. He said after he handles his current business that he was handling, he was going to go talk to the ones of political power to see if there was any way that he could help, effectively pulling him out of retirement, this is. And
Well, that's
urged
not good.
urged me that if I did make the journey out there, that I needed to get some needed to bring along some scrolls of divine protection from diseases and curses of the like, and make sure I cover my mouth.
Did you?
It's a lockdown situation then.
What's that? Wait, no, I don't want to know.
If he says these type of precautions, then we shouldn't be allowing anyone straight through back into our little abode here.
Well,
We can't get back?
You,
as long as you have, my guess would be as long as you have the ability to remove whatever is instilled over there, then you should be fine.
aye, there's two things that will allow you back. One is coming through a different path that isn't that one, that allows me to know that you're not that we've had news from in the past day or so that we know that there's not a spreading infection across the multiverse. The other is unless your grandfather didn't do things the way he normally does, he should have an envelope that he can send information back to me so that I can get it out. It doesn't get other people active, but it does get me the information to be able to hire people to go do things. If he still has that on him, he can inform what the category is so that I can make sure that nothing that is infected with that problem can even leave this hall without me knowing. That way you can still come back without having me have to beat you into a bloody pulp and not allow you to leave.
Well,
You're
there's
all
a couple.
fine folk, but I rather not invoke something that will infect the multiverse from coming in here.
Agreed. Couple of things I would like to get from you, actually, if it wouldn't be too much trouble. This
Hmm.
place, does it have a name?
The world, or just specifically where I have a pathway to?
Both?
Um, the place that my door goes to is the small valley. It's at the edge of the Underdark. It's also on the edge of the wilds, so it's a lot of very large creatures that could scoop you up and eat you. But
Oh,
generally, that's not that bad if you're quick on your feet. Um, you can make it to the caves and make it your way down. Just speaking with the guards at the entrances is enough to get you in, as long as you're not hostile. What else is there? The Underdark is not the same kind of Underdark as many other kinds. I've seen it in many different realms where it's lit by mushrooms and inhabited by all sorts of folk that are pointed and poisonous and what have you. It's psychic, whatever. There, it's much more. The dwarves had a way of making sure that everything stabilized, and so they kind of filtered into all of the cultures down under. And the Great Holds are what would be considered the Underdark. Going into the first ward will welcome you into the places where you'll be able to find out information. They're the ones that trade with the surface. The world itself, I never found out the name.
There's
Yeah.
something underneath the dark? I just go through the dark.
Well, maybe that is information that we can glean and then pass on to you when we find out.
Well, information is a trade around here, and I'll happily take more things to trade.
I've
Uh,
used
Go ahead.
I've used my one time for the day to contact my grandfather, but I will be doing so tomorrow. Uh, Tolver is going to see if he can help in preparing something that will allow us to basically substitute itself for the scrolls if we can't come across them.
Well,
Uh,
give the little shite one thing. He knows his way around a alchemical kit. If he can't figure out an alchemical way, no one can. Doesn't really pay for everything else he's done with me, but he's got at least that bit of respect.
so when I do contact him tomorrow, I will ask him about the envelope.
Oh, he pulls out a different, just a flat page and writes something real quick before the edges of the page start to slowly turn to dust, and he quickly hands it to you.
He'll take it.
I don't really have a name for it, but the portal is many of my portals are generally known over at the inverted tower. If you're looking for information, I'm sure somebody's already pointed you there. They have an almanac. They might be able to tell something. If it's new information that hasn't passed through me, they might have it. If
All right.
it's something that will help with specifically like setting up, learning how to deal with the problem, or setting up wards on our end thanks to their abilities and the way they teach, it's just best to be running before the problem already catches up, right? So if
Right.
you're going there, go ahead and take the knot.
Thank you. Oh, and
Thank you.
he pulls out from his pack the book that was lent, and he hands it back to Revolver.
He pulls out a quick cloth, takes the book, slips it back into the desk,
The last entry in that, the bottom half of the page was missing.
Aye. The one who was entering it, he ripped it off and ran back through the portal when he was doing the informant. Said something about enough shooting stars to light up the night sky. Looked where he'd ran through.
Biren looks over at Dashani. What are shooting stars?
Well, there are things you can make a wish on, but in this case, I'm not sure if it was literally or figuratively. That we might need to do a little bit more research on.
Biren still looks completely confused.
Don't worry, it confuses most of us.
Well,
She's going to pull out a piece of paper and her ink pot and just quickly doodle out
ooh, excuse me.
a
Please
shooting
continue.
star.
Please continue. Stepping away for a second.
And she is going to doodle this out in color so you can kind of see a night sky with the star shooting across it, and then she will show it to Baron. That is a shooting star.
The line across the page?
Correct. Have you ever seen that at night? Quite a
Oh, I
lovely sight.
in one of those one time. I
It's
was
quite a
I was
lovely sight if you get to see it.
I was on my roof
Hmm.
and this glowing thingy.
As we don't get to see those very often, you can make a wish on it. Sometimes those wishes will come true. If the gods are smiling.
Why did no one tell me this before?
I think you'll learn quite a lot with this group.
Well, I think now we'll be off to the inverted tower. See if there's any information we can glean from them.
Over the table, these clothes seem to have Biren super inquisitive today.
Doors have been opened, windows have been opened.
He didn't know they could do that anymore. He just stumbled my way through a Disney song terribly.
We haven't been to the inverted tower, correct?
Correct.
So Baron's not going to be able to help us, but
He can still help you through. He just doesn't know the exact way there, so you will still need to do your perception or investigation checks to find the exact way there.
Well, they told us how to get there, didn't they?
Culver gave us
Yes,
basic directions. So,
shall we?
yep. Let's
but you know, cardinal directions in this place mean about as much as a marble in a swimming pool.
let's head out and see what we can find.
All right.
Well, actually, all of those that would like to help, please give me a perception or an investigation check. Your choice. Please let me know what the choice is and the number.
19 investigation or 19 perception.
17 either way.
Which one do you want?
Investigation.
Okay.
I'm still doing math.
19 investigation.
23 perception.
Excellent. About 40 minutes later, you've had to turn back and go through rotating streets that turned over so that you could get to the correct side of the street to be able to have access to the inverted tower. This is the only structure that leads so deep into the sky that is the center the of the gateway that it starts reaching to the other side. But at the base of it, it's several hundred feet from side to side with a grand archway and balconies just jutting out at random intervals. And it seems like a single cylindrical column that twists and just kind of doesn't quite look straight as it's going straight up. And then the balconies that you're seeing that dot their way up look almost like they are meant to be halls that go from one end to the other, but bend back in and go to a different part of the same floor. In front of you, as you get to the courtyard in front, that has some nice shrubberies and a few fountains that are just squirting water into the air to show the luxury, and many people are actually drinking out of the fountains as they pass by, uh, showing that it's clean water. It's not that it's faux pas here. The show actually has a purpose. So you're between four of these water fountains, and you're maybe 100 feet from the doors of this massive structure that goes so far up and inward that you wonder what it looks like from the top. Or is that the bottom?
Does any of this look familiar to any of us?
This particular building, um, one person that is not actually in the call right now is the only one that actually got close to this place before they met up with any of you.
Elon.
Jeb her, yep. Balon had heard about a place that had a lot of experiments or teaching magic and weird things called science and stuff like that. And he was on his way when he found interesting people to follow. Being you. So you are actually kind of bringing him back to the second place of wonder that he spotted when he came here. So strange to think that it was only a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And these grand doors are about 50 feet tall. And they're open inward.
Does
And
there
go ahead.
does there look to be anybody who might stand out as somebody who works there?
It's a bit of a jumble. Imagine on the first floor. Imagine like you're at a large college campus, and you are standing on the second floor trying to pick out the professors from the students.
Okay.
It can be done. It's a little more difficult. And it's even harder when you've never been there before. So there is there are, once again, just like out on the street, many different races that are just represented here. There is a troll holding a very large book with chains on it that he is just thumbing through.
Hmm.
Why does his
About
book have chains?
off on the side. Hmm?
Why does his book have chains?
Who you
You can
asking?
ask.
Who's he always asking?
Perhaps
Who's
we
he
can ask
always
him.
hiding behind? I don't want to ask him. You ask him.
Well, come along, we'll ask.
You walk up. You walk up
Her
to him.
eyes behind her wings while she asks.
Why does my book have chains?
Hmm.
Has to do with old stories from places long gone. Secrets that need to be guarded.
So,
Safe
book
in my
cannot leave?
hands. Safe in my hands.
Hmm.
Maybe not others.
I'll look
Fear.
over to Drax, and this might be a book that could have some of the information you were looking for.
Could be, but not really a way to know for sure just yet.
Mhm.
One moment. There is writing on the face of the book that Biren notices but cannot read.
What's that say?
Look over and see what he's talking about.
In Sylvan, Grim Tales.
Grim fairy tales.
It didn't say fairy.
Yeah.
Who would say fairy in Sylvan? That's racist. Are you heading in? Are you
Yeah,
investigating other people that are here?
I'm gonna
I was
step
just giving you,
inside and
I
I'm
was
gonna
just
step in.
explaining the fact that there were interesting people around. That's all.
Oh, you're good. I'm gonna step inside and see if there's like a front desk or anything.
About 100 feet in from the doors, there is a circular desk that's about 30 feet across that has 7 people running from one end to the other, stopping only to answer a question and then move off to another person that's on the other side of the circle.
I'll approach the desk and wait.
It's 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. You get up to 10 minutes, and just as you're thinking about going, excuse, you see a blur of a person stop in front of you. They have little tiny horns that come up about an inch out of their forehead. They have a very thin uh, goatee, a almost completely golden iris. They have tufts of fur over their shoulders, but they are not wearing a shirt, and they are cleft in the center. You do not see below the waist because they're at the desk now. Can I help you?
Looking for information.
On what?
Uh, Potent diseases and curse removal. Or protection, should I say.
More
Uh,
specific.
Wish I could be. He pulls out the piece of paper that was given to him by Revolver. And laces on the thing. I have
You do not see his arm move, but you do see it suddenly up here between two hands and is looking at it. And
I
then the
spoke
piece of paper is back on the table, and his arms are back by his sides. I see.
that place. I spoke with my grandfather this morning. He is there. He said something has moved in that I need to bring, if I plan on going, need to bring divine scrolls of protection to aid against potent diseases and curses. Um, Wish I had more information, but just trying to find out what all I can about that place and what it might.
For just a moment, there is a cigar in his mouth, and he's trying to work a lighter, and then the next moment there is just a butt of vape, and the lighter is gone, and there's a cloud around his head. Mm-hmm. Mm,
So,
Alright, over the table. Did Biren see anything other than that?
no. Like, these were like snapshots of motion that just finally stopped long enough for the world to understand what was happening. And one moment, gone. There are 6 people there. Back, there are 7 people again. He is right back at. He now has a scarf. 17th floor. Divine Studies.
thank you.
Luck. Gone.
Takes the paper off the top of the desk and looks back to the group who he assumes followed him in.
That guy was weird.
I
I
he
couldn't
was
stop blinking.
he 17th floor.
You have seen these before in the Feywild. Quicklings are very good messengers.
What'd you say their name was?
That was a Quickling.
A Quickling. Okay. It's not the first time I've come across one of its kind. Usually they're used to get messages across long distances. Very, very good at what they do.
I am assuming it's because they're fast.
Well, as their name suggests, they're Quicklings.
above board. These are one of the only creatures that can cross planes without portals. Let that sink in and continue.
Time for Google.
I
If
think
they
we
were
should head up.
actually helpful.
No, let's 17th floor is supposed to be divine studies. That's where he pointed me. Let's see if we can't get a little more knowledge of what we need. Look for a set of stairs descending, I'm assuming up or down.
From here, you see stairs that start to spiral up on the far end. There are several different banks of these. You can select one of 8 that you can see.
Go with the third one I see and start going with a purpose. Gotta make it to 17th floor.
The rest of you following him or splitting up and going up different stairways?
Following.
Okay. You, as a group, head up the third stairwell, and it's a grueling climb. When he was saying stories, he did not mean like the standard 8-foot story. He's talking. The ceiling here is 100 feet, so that's the first floor.
Oh,
Um,
God.
I'm not saying that each one is the same.
Well, my
You
hopes are
get
gonna
about
hurt by the time we get to the top of the first floor, so...
you get up into the second floor, and you are in a latticed cycling staircase that continues to go up. It kind of bends and then comes up into the center of the building. You have Euclidean gravity here as you just keep going with the stairs without having to worry about the bend in how the structure works. You get up into the third floor by only having to go up about another 30 feet. It keeps on doing varying things. Doing juts off one side. At one point, the stairwell brings you out onto a one of those one of the walkways that go outside of the structure and comes back in and continues another stairway that goes up. It takes you a good 30 minutes of walking up the stairs to get to the 17th floor. In fact, you technically skip the 17th floor and then come back down to it. And you finally get there. And it seems like this entire floor is just filled with people that are dressed in robes and varying levels of different parts of plate mail and light chain that are all sitting at desks that are like doing very fine detail work on different kinds of paper and parchment. And every once in a while, one will get frustrated, make a noise, crumple the piece of work that they're doing, and just throw it to the center. And there are several that are just walking around making sure that everybody is working. There is one person that is not doing any of this, and they are up on a dais about 30 feet off center of the room. And they are simply taking finished works putting them in a book, and pressing them. Who do you approach?
One of the people that is walking around checking on people.
There's a creature that is in flowing robes that has pauldrons on each side and a very thin plate, just decorative plate on their front. And as they turn to to answer your tap, they have very green skin. They have very long ears, very almost feline but sharp eyes, and the only hair that is on them is the top is braided and the bottom is just a column of hair that comes to a point at the end about a couple of inches from their belt line. And it is all somewhere between a pepper black and a silvery color. Aye, how can you how can you be helped?
I'm looking for knowledge on um fuck. Brain train goes off the rails once more.
Was it ever really on the rails, though?
Shut up, Cody.
Hovering slightly above them.
Looking for knowledge on divine scrolls that could protect against potent diseases, curses. I see the look. And he gives a really quick, short version of what he's learned from his grandfather and shows them the piece of paper that was given to him by Revolver. And that they are trying to get as much knowledge on the said situation as they can to potentially aid them in their travel back and their time there, as well as, any knowledge that can be gained that could help bolster the gateway's defenses against such a thing if something should try to come through.
You're 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 lucky to have come today. Speak to the Father on the dais. He has the command of the floor.
Thank you. And he wastes no time, turns away from the individual, and goes straight towards the dais.
The hobgoblin, the old hobgoblin, continues on his way, making sure that other things are being attended. And there's a individual that is sitting standing at this dais in silver robes with filigree that is in blood red, that is in a common that is very old, just doing a scripture work at the edges. He is human. He is shaven, completely hairless from every surface that you can see of his skin. And he has piercing blue eyes and not a tooth in his head. Gosh, what can I do for you?
Well, I was just pointed this way by the elderly hobgoblin over there. Um, my name is Adraxan Valarin, and I'm in search of knowledge, divine protections against potent diseases and curses, things of the like. And in same tandem, he gives a brief rundown of what's going on and what they're working towards.
At the end of your explanation, he kind of just wiped his entire face and just kind of mushes it in thought, uh, coming back down to his chin and pulling it all taut again. I see. Um, so we can start working on one side of that, and we can certainly help with some of the scraps. Looks at the pile of just balled up scrolls that are beside him to help with some of the workings, depending how far it is along. This might not even make a dent. Uh, but with that, we can start working on. Did you give him the little piece of paper with the number on it?
Yes.
We can start looking into divinations as well about, and he just kind of reaches up and snaps. A staff kind of descends out of nothing in his hand to come to a wrap at the as it hits materializes to the ground, and he turns on it and then points at 15 different individuals without saying a word, and they stop writing things and start changing out the stuff that's on their desk. You start seeing ink bottles go away and burners come up. Um, and silver liquids start getting poured into small bottles over there. We have basis of knowledge, but we need specifics. If what you've said is true, and if the ones that you've already spoke to have posted you to me, and that you've got somebody that can get information from there to here. If it all trickles back up to here, we can support it. We can. He snaps his finger again, gives two raps of his staff, points to the people that are walking around, and they stop pacing and go down the same staircase that you came up. And he continues, we will have some help for Revolver. He's very good at what he does, but he does not leave his post unless he needs to.
Uh, Um,
So runners will be of importance.
I can't do it today, but tomorrow morning I can get more specific information. The individual I have contact with over there is my grandfather, and he has a way of more than once a day getting information to Revolver. I just have to remind him that he's got it. And
God,
hopefully we should be able to get that started as well as acquire the means to protect ourselves when we make the trip over.
Good to see some that are willing to put their lives out for worlds on their own. Mm. You see him just kind of take the other hand, roll over the crest of the staff at the top, and as his hand comes down to here, he pulls a uh, envelope out of the top of the staff. It's not much, but if you get the information that you need to get to us while you're still here, this will only last a few days. You put the information into this, you fold it, you throw it to the wind, and it will find its way to me.
Takes the envelope. That will save the time from travel in between. Very, very
Seems like you're
useful.
already being very quick of foot and not wasting time, but not hurrying too fast as to make missteps yet.
The goal.
It's youth that I wish I still had. And he pops the staff one more time, just points the entire staff in a different direction, and a bunch of the people that are in those desks just all get up and go down a different stairwell. And as things come up, I will be directing things from here to be able to help those that you've already brought into this.
Thank you. This not only affects my family, but it also affects the gateway as a whole and the world that connects to it. So we'll do what we can, get the information where it needs to be.
He leans the staff on a pedestal that's he's next to on the dais, and who else do you tend to go to in the gateway around here?
Usually just we visit more often than not Revolver and Tolver. Smith and Wesson from time to time if we need equipment.
I've heard they're good. I've never had use of them. Several of my disciples have. If what? And he points to one of the people that are left in the hall. At the very end, there's a dragonborn that is like literally decked from head to toe in metal. If he has anything to say of it, you can say he has an eye. Smith and Weston have been good to us. So, if you're the ones going, one moment. He takes literally 30 seconds to turn his body completely around unassisted,
Mm-hmm.
bends down, takes another 10 seconds. He is not the fastest human being on the planet. Pulls up this tiny stool that he was kind of slightly kneeling on while he was doing things, and he opens the top of the tiny stool and he pulls out a very strange object And folds the stool, puts it back down, turns back around. You come here. He's pointing at Horby. You have faith in you, and you seem to be the least equipped of them. If you're going back to that shop, tell them where you got this and give it to them. They will make something.
He stepped away for a minute.
That's fine.
Orby approaches, takes the item, and says thank you.
Imagine D4 made of 4 separate spheres, pearls, and diamonds. They do not seem to be glued together, they seem to be just fused. Take that to them. They will use it to give something that will help. And you can take as many of these as you can carry. Pointing at the giant pile of balled up scrolls that are off to his left.
May I inquire what those are?
Those are attempts at perfecting the filigree of a potent enough restoration to combat even a toxic wish spell. They're not strong enough to fight that, but they may be strong enough to help alleviate what you've described. A one person each.
That would be massive help if that's the case.
These are all base level greater restoration scrolls, and they burn right after use.
How many are on the ground?
Each of you may roll a d100 and take that many.
As I'm stuffing as many as I can in that bag that held, all those pounds of mithril. All right, that's not a bad number.
Yeah.
64.
What are these scrolls again?
I just got
Base
88.
base scrolls of greater restoration. One use only.
85.
I got 75.
You all rolled so high. That's great.
80 fucking 8.
Is that just something we're gonna put in our notes?
God, I hope so.
Please collect all of them and put them in one place so that you can just have, we have this many. Strike, 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 strike. So that it's
Okay.
not.
Give me total numbers and I'll hold on to the items. And we'll just put
85.
them in a place where everybody can get to them.
Oh.
So 85 plus 88 from Horby.
Yep.
I had 64. And what did you have, Sir?
75.
75.
He
312.
pulled out the big boy to do that.
312. Individual.
You take about the next hour together re-rolling or unbunching them and re-rolling them to actual just rolls so that they take up less space. And you can put them all in one bag, and you can just label that the bag of greater restoration.
Out of curiosity, how many was that in total?
That was 312.
Jesus. Do we even need a cleric?
Well, you can't cast
Yes.
Greater Restoration yet.
Yet, I can cast Lesser Restoration, though.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a separate pack in my inventory. Let's see.
The fact that
And
we're getting this many is actually a little bit concerning.
just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
The fact that he nodded his head when I asked that question. That is what concerned me.
Okay. And I'll take back the custom item.
I told you guys, you're going to get interesting plot when you hit around this level.
Oh.
Not that things before weren't interesting, but
I mean, we're going to level 5.
you can earn level 5 before you go, or you may end up going at level 4. It's on how you guys take, or how effectively you decide to prepare. Since you have all definitely backed Adraxan in this play of getting this done and helping his grandfather and moving things forward,
Okay, so
and
we
possibly helping
collect.
save the multiverse a little bit.
So we have gathered 312 of these scrolls, and after doing so, Adraxan thanks the father and looks back at the group. I think we need to, and I think we need to swing by.
Smith and Wessons?
Yeah, get you your item
I
or
hope.
items, depending. See if I've got anything that I can pan off to get some slightly better armor, and then
I thought we were going mining today.
Nothing says we
well,
can't go mining after that.
over the table, I wanted to hit Smith and Weston before we ended tonight because Cody may not be here next week.
I will
Yeah.
not be
That
here
is
next
fair.
week.
So he has a chance to get his character stuff while he's here. And then, if nothing else, we can do mining next week when he's not here, when we've got Lee, who's already
That's
got his
also fair.
items.
Also fair.
So, uh, let's take a quick trip to Smith and Wesson.
Ooh, I've got
It
more sausages for him.
Or
it
more.
takes you time to get down the tower, but you get down, and knowing the streets between the tower and the ever-flowing street, you get there in about an hour. And once again, Weston is the once again the piles have all moved again, and Weston is at the hearth, and Smith is working on a new project, which is glowing like effervescent blue. And I'm walking.
Smith, Weston, it's good to see you.
Greetings. You lose Tormy?
No, he's stepped away.
Oh,
That particular noise made my skin crawl.
Nothing's coming through, bud.
Let me get the mic closer. See if that actually helps.
That definitely made you louder.
Welcome. You're coming around more often.
Your work speaks for itself.
If you can make a name here, you can make a name anywhere. How can we help
Well,
the customers?
we brought a cleric friend here to see about some outfitting that may help him, much as you guys have already helped us. And I'd like to inquire about a bit of armor from Wesson. See if I can get something that's a little bit stronger than what I currently wear.
Let's see what we can do. Hey, let's see
Or
what we can do.
Horby, don't forget to show them the item that you were given.
Horby pulls it gingerly out of the pockets of his vestments and shows it to. I don't even remember the name.
Smith,
Okay,
his eyes just kind of lock on the item. Where'd you get that?
Father from the Inverted Tower Divine Arts section gave it to Horby. We said you guys would be able to do something with it to strengthen him or help. We are currently outfitting ourselves to take on a bit of a mission.
Sort of trouble. Where's that?
And once again, he will give them the
Yep.
rundown. Just for simplicity's sake.
Yep. Weston is just kind of has her hands bunched up in front of her as you finish your story, and Smith is just, his arms are crossed and his eyes are still fixed on that item, and it's definitely been a couple of months. Bound to happen. Okay. He reaches his hand out for the item. This
Horby hands it to him.
between this, what you've brought, and the name it'll bring to the shop, we've got you. He looks, before almost every other time he's either looked bored or cocky. There's a hint of worry in his face when it was brought up that something possibly infectious could hit, and He just with the stuff in front of him, he just stares at Horby.
Baron pulls out a sausage and lays it on the counter in front of him.
The hand just slowly goes from here down and picks up the sausage. And you see it slowly disappear from between the hands as he's just pulls a pair of goggles down. This goes on for about 4 or 5 minutes, and the goggles come back up. Something stronger than Thrall to finish what I can do for it.
Something stronger than Mithril? Is that what he said?
Yeah. The rest of you can help over here. And Weston starts helping you look through the different piles of the leather and metal and chain so that you can find other options. I think what we can do here is we can send you back to Revolver with a specific place to go pick up adamantine to make the item that he's thinking of. And in the meantime, I can help with the minor outfits that you're also talking about. You wanted something that you want outward plating? Do you want to replace what you had from before? Do you want what are you looking for your
Well, something that went into the works. Oh. Not necessarily the easiest one to hit, but I'm not also necessarily the hardest one to hit. And being up front makes me a target more times rather than not. But this big thing kind of eliminates the use of a shield.
There's a different option. Are you against covering your face?
Not at all.
I've got a thing that might help you. And she takes you back into the corner back behind the forge. And there's a neckline gambeson of that is overlaid with chain and has a cuff up on the side that is opposite the way that you normally hold your wave's edge. And it has a sheer cut mask as if it is the lower half of a full plate helm. And it comes up sheer over one of your ears. And This comes with or without the cape.
Hmm.
And she shows a rich iron red cape that kind of has a couple of different rings that hook to the back of the piece.
I like the cape, quite honestly.
It's a bit tricky to work with for many, but if you've been put in work and mastering the way of this wondrous beast, pointing at the weapon, then I think you might also be able to work with this.
Very well. I like the sound of that.
Above board, and so that you can start putting it together for the D&D Beyond. This gives you a +2 to AC, and if you use your bonus action to do a not a sleight of hand, to do a performance check, you can give disadvantage to attacks against you if you do hit a certain DC with your not that it is your performance versus their passive perception.
Okay. Bonus action.
I think that might do without taking away the piece of armor that you've already got enchanted.
I think that'll do nicely.
And anyone else?
Wesson, this might not be for you, it might be for Smith, but have you anything that would guard against diseases?
Really good gloves and some face masks?
My grandfather did state to cover our faces.
Any
The
good masks?
the smile fades a little bit at the mention that your grandfather had stated this instead. More serious. Okay, I can do that. She goes into one pile, then another, and then she straightens up, looks to the very front, runs up to where you see a hat stand that is almost completely buried. And after a couple of minutes of digging through that, you see her pop back up. A few extra garments actually just kind of draped over her, and she has a handful of very thick leather bandanas that have a filtering flute off of them, and another hand is up with a bunch of very thick leather gloves. Initially it was sort of a joke, but it really is effective against most diseases. You'd be surprised how many plague doctors just ask for these things.
I think those will be most useful.
And hands them off. And indeed, it is like a plague doctor's beak with a flute that goes back this way to blow the pressure out instead of up, like everybody is familiar with in these times.
I'm sure this is going to rub my nose just great.
But they are a hard leather that goes out about 4 inches from the crest of your nose, and then curves round and has the bell come from the bottom of the flute comes from the bottom of the mask up behind your right ear.
What do you want to call these for me?
I just put Plague Doctor Mask on my sheet.
That's fine.
Oh, I really hope these aren't necessary.
I want to be faster.
I'd rather not have a rubbed raw snout.
That and some of the diseases we might extract.
Let me look around. Maybe I have something. It might just be a thing only for Smith over there. And she goes to the back of the shop and starts digging through a couple of things. And she comes back, and it's something I was toying around with last year or so. Never really caught on. A couple of people thought they were fun, but not really useful. And she hands you a pair of boots. And is turning them around. They have wheels on the bottom.
You just gave me Heelys. God damn it.
Did Biren just get Heelys?
Biren has been handed a set of boots that has wheels and heels.
He has Heelys. Congratulations, you have Heelys.
So what exactly does that do? Is that something that we need Fenris to make?
Yeah.
Okay. Like
that,
usual, just shoot me the information.
that above board, that increases your move speed by 5 feet. And if you happen to be taking the move, dash, and bonus action dash action, you double your speed.
Jesus fuck.
This does not work on climbing or going uphill.
Jesus
Move,
Christ. Does it triple when he's
dash,
going downhill?
But you have to be using your full action economy to dash or move,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So like 280 feet?
Yes.
Good lord.
It is literally like, oh, there's a problem. Looks
It's
over, there's
run
a dust cloud, and the portal door is spinning.
Or, look, there's a problem ahead of us. We won't get there in time. Hold my fucking beer. Meow.
Depends which way he rolled.
Right?
Just rolls away. That's the wrong way!
Me. Roadrunner style.
Especially with the other thing that we talked about.
Did you see my DM?
I did. I am considering a not yet on that one.
I kind of figured, but I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, you get non-magical Heelys.
Technically, they're magical.
Yeah, bearings are definitely
Uh,
magic.
yeah, doubling the speed with the whole thing. Good lord, that's a lot of. Oh, we need to get across town quick. All right, that 40-minute trip from the tower to here. No, that's like 2 seconds.
If you get a bag of holding and everybody piles in, you're literally a taxi service.
Okay, so next next time we've got the coordinates given to us for Revolvery, or has that not been given yet?
You have not gone back to Revolver for the coordinates directly. Or you didn't ask for them when you were there.
No. I'm talking about the one mentioned for to go get the
Oh,
adamantine.
for the yep. Um,
So
I'm going to go with Weston is going to give you those while Smith is explaining to Horby uh, what he is going to be doing and what he needs within the next day so that you can have it for when you go to do this.
okay.
As soon as you come back with all of the materials, he will start.
Okay.
I'm not going to jump back into the voice for for the sake of speed, but basically, what is going to be made is going to be a sensor, like the swaying on a chain uh, smoke sensor. Any number of there are a couple of things to it, and I will just shoot the information to Fenris so that we can build it for you, so that it can be put on your sheet the next time or when you get it. But it's going to do several things for this trip. And if you were gifted this by the father at the inverted tower, then that means that this was serious enough for a serious enchantment. So take it in stride and take it in good faith and make sure it's put to good use, is basically what comes across. And
Yeah.
with that, I think we're, since we are after midnight, I'm going to say, unless you want to just do a speed back to a particular spot, we'll end it right here.
Well, ending it here sounds good because then we can go straight to revolvers on the next session and start that trip.
Sounds good to me. With that, we swirl out of Smith & Weston's into the darkness and allow us all to dream about the things that we just watched happen in the gateway. Night, everyone.
Night.